Hey guys, it's Di from BeingMommywithStyle, and I've alluded to this in a number of my videos and my day in the lives and recaps and all those sorts of things, but I've never made a dedicated video about how you make a Walt Disney World trip different from the one you just took right before that one. So I thought this was a subject we're talking about only in this video. So we've been to Walt Disney World a number of times. If you've watched my channel before, you know. If you're new to my channel, welcome, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below so you're always notified when we have new Disney trips and new Disney videos coming up. But one of the things that I've mentioned a number of times is that literally each time we've gone, even though we've been a number of times, you can make each trip feel like a different trip. So what does that mean? So for us, it's as simple as when you change your itinerary, you change where you're staying, you maybe change up where you're eating, it changes the experience to where you can be going to the same geographic location and have a different type of experience. Now, this isn't to advocate going multiple times a year because that's not for everyone, but if you're even just wanting to have that different experience, maybe you decided you want to go 2 or 3 years in a row, but you're not wanting it to be exactly the same trip, these are my tips to make your trip different from time to time. The first tip is pretty obvious, and my first tip is stay at a different resort each time. This one's kind of a no-brainer, right? And I think a lot of folks that are into Disney and into going to Disney World do this a lot. Because when you change your resort, it completely changes the feel of the location and it changes your experience as well. So there's 3 different tiers at Walt Disney World. There is the value selection, which is kind of you go in and it's got all your basic necessities. It's got everything you need. They all have pools. You can go in, have an amazing vacation and not spend a ton of money, and you can have that great Disney experience. So these value resorts, they especially work great when, let's be honest, if you're in the parks most of the day, your resort is really just where you're going to sleep at night. So value resorts work great for that. They also have some really great theming. So my girls really like those resorts. We especially like All-Star Movies and Art of Animation, which isn't always value priced. But we really love the theming at those 2 resorts in particular. So just changing your resort up can make a huge difference. There's also moderates and deluxes. So moderates, there's about 5 of those, and you can stay at one of those and change your feel. There's Caribbean Beach, where you can feel more of a beachy theme. There is Port Orleans French Quarter, where you can feel like you've got this Mardi Gras theme going on. And then there is where we're staying on our next upcoming trip, Port Orleans Riverside, where you've got kind of the Southern Bayou, kind of classic style. And then there are a number of deluxes. We most recently have been to Animal Kingdom Lodge, which was amazing. If your family loves animals, which we do, you can animal watch right from your balcony, watch from the windows. They've got all kinds of different seating areas, and you can kind of change up your experience that way. So there's a lot of notable resorts, Polynesian, Contemporary, Beach Club, where you can really change the feel of your stay based on what resort you're at. If you have younger kids and you're wanting to make it a different experience from one time to the next, it's just inherently by default going to be a different experience, because as they grow and get taller, they can ride different rides. So this is actually happening on our next trip as well. My kids are fairly short. You can't always tell that in the videos. I'm fairly short, and they are fairly short for their age. So Isabella has been able to ride Expedition Everest and the over 44-inch rides for a number of years. Natalie, who's 7, is just now hitting 44 inches, which I realize there's a couple people that are like doing the math there. Yes, there are some 3-year-olds that are 44 inches if they're extremely tall. But Natalie is just literally just like right at the line for 44 inches this year. In fact, our last trip that we were just on, she was not close to 44 inches yet. So this next trip, we're actually going to experience a whole new different kind of trip, because we're all going to be able to ride those over 44-inch rides, which we've never been able to do before. We've always had to child swap or figure out who's going to ride what with who, and now we're all going to be able to get in line together, go ride Expedition Everest, and then go on to the next thing. So that's going to be an interesting part. We do still like splitting up and doing like little mommy-daddy dates on the trip. It makes it kind of easier on everyone because the girls don't always want to do the same things. But that is going to be an interesting kind of different aspect to this trip as the kids get taller. And so it can go the other way too. So if you have 2 kids that were in one height range and then one all of a sudden gets taller and they can ride some of the coasters and maybe the shorter one can't, then you kind of are going into that category where you've got to either split up or child swap or whatever. So it's all very doable. We still have a lot of fun when we split up and do different things, or when we need a child swap to have the taller one ride rides that the shorter one cannot. I don't want to say older and younger because obviously Natalie's 7 and she's shorter, so that may not always be the case. But you know, it's all very doable, but this trip will be a little bit different because as they get older and they get taller, theoretically, you can ride more rides. This next one is one of my favorites to kind of switch up the trips. And not everyone does reservation dining, which I completely understand when you're going to Walt Disney World because it does add an expense. But we really love character meals, and for us, they really kind of add that extra immersive experience while we're there. It was a great way when the kids were younger, especially toddlers, preschoolers, to sit, be entertained at the table with food, and have the characters come right over the table. We hit upon this really early on. I think Natalie was 2 at our first character meal. And it was amazing, like literally life-changing. Like to sit in air conditioning and be able to see, you know, like 3, 4, 5 characters at one time is a game changer. Absolutely worth it in my opinion. So we have done character meals ever since then. But what I do try to do is not do the same meals over and over and over, with a few asterisks exceptions. We do really love Tusker House. And that one for us doesn't get old because it's just so unique and different. So we do really love Tusker House. We have repeated that one a number of times. Chef Mickey's is also a favorite for the kids, and they continually request to do that one. So when they request to do it, I kind of, you know, make an exception, and we, you know, do that one a little bit more often. That being said, some of the ones like Be Our Guest, Cinderella's Royal Table, Acre House, at Epcot, the Princess Lunch, or dinner or breakfast, we typically go for lunch. Coral Reef, we've done that one. Garden Grill, we don't do those every single time. So that way when we rotate them back in, they're special, they're different, they're new, and that gives us a neat experience to look forward to. So when a new meal comes up, I do try to do those. So like last time we did the Ariel and Rapunzel breakfast right after it came out. This upcoming time, we're gonna do the new Snow White dinner at Wilderness Lodge that has just come out as well and is new. So this is gonna be one way to kind of change up our trip and give it a different feel. And also the last one, which is a fairly obvious point as well, but worth mentioning, is to make your trip feel different, go at a different time of year. So Disney does an amazing job of making the holidays super special. And all of the holidays actually. Halloween is one of our favorite times to go. We also really love going during the holiday season. We highly recommend going to one of the special ticketed event party nights. If you have not done those before, we really, really love them. We've gone to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party a number of times, and actually twice on Halloween night. Amazing experience to go trick-or-treating in Magic Kingdom. No regrets there. So glad we did that when the girls were younger. We've also gone a number of times to Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. It's a great holiday event in Magic Kingdom. There's special fireworks for these ticketed events and all of that. But of course the theming and decor, special character outfits, all makes it seem very, very different. So you're still at the same place, but it definitely has a different feel even from Halloween to Christmas. But if you go more in the early time period of the year, they now have the Arts Festival in January and February. If you go in the spring, they have Flower and Garden, which is really beautiful, a lot of topiaries and things at Epcot. And then if you go in the summer, it's really hot. It's really, really hot, which makes it a different trip there. But no, really, I mean, it can make your trip different. Now for us, I'm very heat sensitive, so I try to avoid the hotter months, and I really love the decorations of fall and Christmas. So if I had to pick my 2 favorite times to go, they would probably be mid to late fall or spring. I really enjoy going to Flower and Garden, and I enjoy that one. So if you enjoyed all of these tips to kind of change up your trips to Walt Disney World, let me know if you have any questions down below, and thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.